This is Texans TV.
Coming up, Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware pinpoints who the Texans need to take in the draft and gives a breakdown on quarterback Davis Mills' future. Texans 360 starts now.
We are ready to rock. In Houston. Rock and roll.
You already know what time it is, man.
Touchdown, Texans.
I got cleats for all y'all.
He's in. Rock and roll.
That's when you think you've seen it all. There's always something else.
Let's go. They go home. They go home.
Well, hey there, and welcome into Texans 360. We are so very happy you're with us. My name's Drew Dougherty, and we've got a massive show because the 1989 Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware is in the house. It's great to see you. It's been since the season since we got together. But
it is. It's good to see you. We're talking some football today, and so anytime we're talking Texans football, it's exciting. So it's exciting times around here.
You and I are going to chop it up about the quarterback position, some of the draft picks that you got your eyes on at 3 and 13 or elsewhere. Plus, we've got a My Football story and a whole lot more. But we start with some news of the week. And the big news, Andre, is Whitney Mercilus retires, calls it a career after 10 even seasons. You know, he played the first 10 of them here and got 4 games in Green Bay after that. All in all, pretty fine career for Whitney.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you're talking about a guy that is entrenched in the community here in Houston, really embraced the community here. So I would imagine he wants to retire as a Houston Texan, come back, sign one of those one-day deals and retire as a Houston Texan. But just a career that was productive each and every season. A couple of second-team All-Pros in there as well. 58, I think, career sacks, and all but one of them being here in Houston. So it's, some guys, I think Whitney's going to be all right. Some guys struggle after retirement. Whitney is buttoned up. He's got some things in place.
He's a renaissance man. He's got like 19 different ventures
doubt.
he's going to get into, and he loves being in the kitchen, so we'll have to get some of his food
cooking show, maybe.
Exactly. But how about this team? One of the notable acquisitions the Texans just made, running back Marlon Mack. He's added to a room with Rex Burkhead and some other guys who don't have as many carries as pros, but you got to think the Texans will add something in the draft. But on the whole, what do you think about the addition of Mack and this running back?
I love the addition because we've called his name, obviously, when he's playing for the Colts. But he's just kind of earned his way, and it's by production on the field. So he brings that to the Houston Texans, that toughness, to give this running game a little bit of identity.
Yeah, you bring up toughness and you bring up running game having an identity. That's very, very important to Lovie Smith, the new head coach of the Texans. And Lovie got together with this guy's partner in the radio booth, Marc Vandermeer. Marc, of course, the voice of the Texans. Andre's the color analyst. But Marc, Lovie, at the owners' meetings a week or two ago, discussing the team.
With Coach Lovie Smith in Palm Beach, NFL annual meeting. Coach, what's this like for you? What do you get out of this experience?
Well, a lot of things. First off, we as coaches, you don't get a lot of time to really socialize, where it's just not, about winning that game that day. And through the years, you kind of build up relationships. You and your family build up relationships. So to get a chance to see people in that light helps. But for us, it's about the new year has started. New rules that might come into play. Just listen to the NFL, going over all the do's and don'ts a little bit on our job. That helped an awful lot. And then just start to, talk about, our team. There's media sessions too to get the message out to our fans on how we're going to change this program around and how we're working to get back on top.
I know you're putting together the 2022 Texans with Nick Caserio, and you've re-signed some players that you had last year and who did a good job for you. What is that like for you to be able to bring some guys back who contributed?
Well, last year when we came in, it was about, watching a little bit of video and making some decisions.
Right.
I think it's really neat when you get a chance to work with somebody, in our case, for a year. And a lot of guys, when they sign one of your contracts, we all were interviewing for a year. So I guess I was interviewed. Didn't know it. But our players were also. And it's always good when you're making decisions to see guys perform. And that's what we're able to do. So we got a chance to see them in every situation, in the meeting room. How they respond, unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, after loss. how they handle wins, but just a day-to-day operation that we got a chance. And as we lay our foundation, there's a certain certain type of athlete we want in our system.
We're almost in April. What can you tell us about when players get back and what you can do with them, what your plans are to bring the veterans back and start coaching them?
Well, I mean, that's the exciting part. You know, it was about, you know, for me, getting on the job. It was about the staff, getting the staff in place, then free agency. You know, evaluating our roster and then free agency, combine. Of course, you mentioned the draft. We're still preparing for it. But it's still about our players. So that's why the excitement. To answer your question, April 11th is the first day that we start our off-season program. 4 days a week. There are 3 different phases. You know, the first phase will be a couple weeks, and it's just them coming in, seeing what type of shape they're in. Strength and conditioning and meetings. Second phase, now the coaches get a chance to work on the football field. So we'll have 2 weeks, phase 1. We'll have a voluntary mini camp the 3rd week. The following 3 weeks after that, we'll be able to go out on the football field and actually coach them with different techniques. That's when the football part starts. And then the last 3 weeks will be our version of college spring ball. No hitting, anything like that, but now you can have some offense versus defense. And that's the way we'll finish up our off-season workouts.
Coach, thanks a lot for joining us. Good luck.
Thanks for having me on.
Glad you're back with us here on Texans 360. Andre Ware, Drew Dougherty here, and since you're here, you're the perfect guy to talk to about Davis Mills, Pep Hamilton, the offense, and let's start with the quarterback. What got you most excited about his future as you saw what you did at the end of the season?
I think it was the progression of just getting better each and every week. I think one thing, I'm a big body language guy, and he looked like a rookie early on in the early starts of last season. And then as we progressed through the season, you could tell the confidence was starting to grow. You have a foundation of what you're coming back to each and every week. Then you got a play caller now that you had as a quarterback coach in Pep Hamilton stepping in as the new offensive coordinator here. That was as important as getting Davis better each and every week, but getting Pep back in the building where you have some familiarity with the offense, how he likes to call plays, and they get an entire offseason together to work together to figure out what Davis likes and what Pep likes so they can mesh those things together and then really take off, hit the ground running once the season starts.
From that radio booth view, what's one thing that's attainable as far as improvement for Davis Mills this year?
Well, I think it's getting through reads. Sometimes he'll stay on a receiver a little too long, like most rookies do, but at the tail end of the season, you can see him getting through progressions. That's going to be a lot easier as he approaches training camp with the amount of reps that he'll get through training camp as going in as kind of the number one, so to speak. But I just like the progress that he made each and every week. The 66% is going to keep you in a lot of games. It's going to win you a lot of games. Taking care of the football, that's another area where he can really improve it, going from 16 touchdown passes, upping that to 10 interceptions, and kind of lowering that, and that'll give you a chance to win.
You know the college game as well as anybody. You've been calling games for the last few decades on ESPN. So let's dive a little deeper into what Pep Hamilton brings to this team. You saw the stuff he did at Stanford. You've seen him and what he did with Indianapolis and around the league. I'm excited mainly about what this offensive line is going to look like as far as how it attacks in the run game and so on and so forth. What's got you most pumped about having Pep calling the plays, having him design this offense? Because it's going to be different than what we've seen.
It'll be different. It'll be more of, I think, more of an attacking style where they're coming after defenses. They're going to have an element of up-tempo to it, which is another element of what he likes to do. He brings just an entire package and a variety to keep defenses on their heels, and then being able to kind of suck the air out of the stadium and kind of kill the game as well. So I'm excited. I was as excited about anything the Texans have done this offseason. Nothing more so than getting Pep Hamilton or keeping him in the building.
All right, let's continue that thought in the next segment. We're going to hear from Pharaoh Brown, and we're also going to talk about the draft coming up. Don't go anywhere. Texans 360 rolls on.
The Houston Texans select
back, and I know you're excited because you're going to be a part of everything, like you are every year at the draft. But for the first time in a long time, it's not going to be inside NRG Stadium, out at Miller Outdoor Theater. That should be a cool venue, huh?
Yeah, a little throwback action. Used to spend a lot of time out there in my early years of running the park and all of that stuff, so I'm excited to be back out there.
It's going to be fun. Nice. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And a guy that the Texans are looking for contributions from in 2022 is Pharaoh Brown. Big physical guy, kind of easing into his third year with the team now.
Yeah, you talk about a physical presence on the edge that can certainly run block when they motion him down. He can wham block inside, taking on ends and tackles and things of that sort. And then you kind of forget about the receiving element of Pharaoh's game, because once he catches it, he's a tough tackle.
Yeah,
tough to bring down in the open field, just real physical.
Sometimes it takes 7, 8, 9 defenders. And here is a little bit more on Pharaoh Brown. It's his My Football Story.
I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. My childhood was fun. I have nothing but good memories. Me and my sister grew up in a single mother home. When I was like 6 or 7, my sister was cheerleading for a Pop Warner team, and I went to a practice and seen all the kids out there playing. So I told my mom I wanted to get on the team, but I was too young, so I cried for like 2 days. I just kind of kept going out there, and then they let me just practice with them, and that's kind of how I got into football. I went to high school at Brush High School. Football there was kind of rough. They was like 0-11. They didn't win a game in like 2 or 3 years. I didn't play football until my junior year. I just played basketball. And then one of the coaches, Coach Houchins, we had a heart-to-heart conversation, and he got me to come play football. First I was playing defensive end, and Oregon wanted me as an offensive player, as a tight end, but I've never had played it. So going into my senior year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play offense this year. And you just kind of get more girls scoring touchdowns than sacks in high school. A lot of coaches that I trust in high school, they always told me you have the chance to make it if you just put in the work and stay on this right path. So I just kind of took their words in it that those people believed in me. And so I kind of switched over and then went to Oregon.
Mariota firing into the end zone, touchdown Ducks. Pharaoh Brown with the catch.
Eugene is an awesome place, like God's country out there. Eugene gets pretty wild during the football season. So I mean, I have nothing but great memories. We was ranked top 5 every year I was there. So you just kind of being good, winning. I mean, it was just fun. I had good college years, but I had an injury that really scared a lot of teams.
Pharaoh Brown remains hospitalized in Salt Lake City after suffering a leg injury.
That process was pretty rough, almost losing my leg, having to reteach myself how to walk again. You know, that I did 20 months of rehab, and I couldn't even walk up a staircase. I couldn't even step in the shower. My way of doing everything in life is just keeping my head down and working. And through all my trials and tribulations, that method of thinking has worked out to this point, and that's just what I did. I was the only person ever in football that had this injury. You know, they never seen it before. I wrote the blueprint to it. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody else. It's kind of an uphill battle when you come in undrafted. It's different things that you got to deal with that a draft pick wouldn't, and you're treated differently than a draft pick is. You just got to put your head down and work. I was with Oakland at first, and then I was on the streets looking for a team for like 3-4 weeks. And my agent had called me. He had a few different teams, but he was like, "You're not gonna believe who I was just talking to." And he was like, "It was Cleveland." And I was like, "I don't gotta hear no more, just sign me up." Being home was a dream come true. Just being a Browns fan and seeing the change from when I was growing up and coming up to their recent success it was great to see. I had a few visits set up because I was released. I chose to come here first just because the depth at my position was pretty slim. And when I got down here, I did a workout. They liked me, and Bill said that he was going to put me on the roster because a few other teams, like the Browns, wanted me to be on the practice squad. And I knew I would be able to come here and get a fair shot and be able to just compete. And that's what I did. I came here, competed, and my playing time increased.
Pressure arriving, throws it, caught at the 10 and dragged down at the 5. Pharaoh Brown, 1st and goal, Houston.
I never take a day for granted. Going through what I've been through after the injuries, the little things that matter that get taken away from you that make you realize. So every time I'm out here, I'll just give it my all because you never know when your time will be up. And that's just stuff that I take with me on the football field and in life. So I'm just grateful, blessed, Happy to be able to be continuing to play in the game that I love, and just happy to keep beating the odds.
In just a moment, we're getting into the NFL draft discussion with Andre Ware. Don't go anywhere. Texans 360 rolls on.
The Houston Texans select
Mercilus, 5'9", no mercy.
Whitney brings him down. The ball is out.
intercepted by Mercilus.
Mercilus with his third sack of the game. Did they sack him? Whitney Mercilus.
Mercilus forced the fumble.
We're back. Time to talk NFL draft with Andre Ware. All right, Texans have a 3, have a 13. They've got 9 other ones throughout the draft. But at number 3 overall, the Houston Texans are taking.
I would say Kyle Hamilton from
so?
Notre Dame. I think the safety. There's so many pieces that you need on both sides of the ball that I think is going to be more out of best player available than it is out of need, because there are so many needs. And when you lose a guy like Justin Reed on the back end, a playmaker, and you have an opportunity to really kind of plug in another player that is of similar stature, playmaking ability, range on the back end, and a guy that just flat out makes plays back there. I had him a couple of years ago against Alabama in that game. Now, it didn't go the Irish's way that bowl game or in the playoff, but he certainly kind of lit a fire under the defense. And so you know what he can do, you know the type of talent he is, and that's where I would go at number 3.
Yeah, he's an incredibly impressive guy, and then they get to pick again at 13.
Yeah.
Now, we've heard Nick Caserio say, hey, whether or not the Texans stay at 3, it's a whole separate discussion. I think he probably feels the same way about 13.
Yeah.
You can kind of make that interchangeable. Let's say they stay there at 13, though. What would you like to see them do?
I might address the offense, and we were talking offensive line. I may go the offensive tackle from Mississippi State.
Charles
Cross, yeah. Because I think he is a guy that doesn't give up a whole lot of pressures, or close to almost 700 snaps last year, only 6 pressures. He is a guy that can certainly get it done. Plug him in, maybe on the right side. He can probably play some guard for you. Gives you some offensive line flexibility that we talked about earlier. And I think they get instant results from those 2 picks at 3 and 13.
Now, your Cougs won a dozen games last year. You don't win a dozen games unless you've got a lot of talent in the building. Dana Holgorsen has got something cooking over there. Which guys might make nice fits with the Texans team, and why is one of them Marcus Jones, one of my favorites?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly where I was going, because I think he's going to slip into maybe that second, third day kind of draft day status, and somebody's going to get an excellent football player that can play on special teams. Obviously, we know what he can do there, but as well, you can play him in the slot a little bit, kind of in that role where a lot of teams are trying to find that one guy that can play offense and give you a little bit of something else on the other side of the ball. He certainly fits it, and he saves you a roster spot in a lot of ways.
He sure does. He's a sticky defender when he's out there covering receivers. Okay, we'll be back with one final segment of Texans 360 in just a moment. Okay, we're back. Andre Ware is, of course, the guest. He's the color analyst on game days in the radio booth for the Texans. Marc Vandermeer is the voice. And down on the sidelines, it's our good pal, John Harris.
Yeah.
He would love that you chose Kyle Hamilton as your 3rd overall pick.
If I'm picking along with Johnny, I'm in a good spot. Batting 1,000. The man knows his
you're doing
business.
well.
No doubt.
He does know his business, and we got to check out his thoughts on the Big Ten in the Stock Report.
Yeah, it's time for the Stock Report with me, John Harris, where we break down some of the best players in the NFL draft class of 2022. And for today, we're going north to the Big Ten, and we're taking your calls right now. Jimmy, give me the first call. Let's go.
Johnny, this is Marcus from Detroit. Johnny, go blue. Is Aiden Hutchinson the number 1 pick in this year's draft?
I think he's going to end up being the number 1 pick in the draft, Marcus. I think he's going to go number 1. But if he doesn't, he's going to go at least top 3 in this draft. Look, if you're Detroit, where you're from, Marcus, are the Lions going to pass on Aiden Hutchinson? I don't know. Why would they pass when he's got these? The mitts, the hands, the chops, the swims, the punches, the strips, getting the ball out. Aiden Hutchinson does it all on a football field. He's a ball finder, and he is a game changer. He should be number 1, but I don't want him to go to Jacksonville. I just want him to go number 3 to Houston, but we'll see. Next call.
Hey, Johnny, this is Dave in Burlington. So, Johnny, I'm wondering, what does Kenny Walker bring to his future NFL team? Go Green!
My heart is a flutter. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? The flutter. Kenny Walker, hand him the football. Power. He's going to run over guys. 5'9", 220, thick as tree trunk legs, a butt the size of Houston, and can run through any hole, inside, outside, make you miss it. Oh, did I mention that Kenny Walker runs a 4.39? A 4.39. Who runs that fast? Not you, Pally. Kenny Walker, bring him to me, please. Next caller.
Hey, Johnny, this is Angela from Bloomington. Have you heard of Boye Mafe? Sky you ma.
Wait, whoa. Have I heard of Boye Mafe? Are you kidding me? The outside linebacker edge player from the University of Minnesota at 257 pounds that jumped 42 inches in the vertical. I don't know, it may have been more, but all I see is him going up, and up draft boards. He is still raw. But Boye Mafe is a name you need to learn for the first round because this guy can play. Speed off the edge at the Senior Bowl. He embarrassed everybody. Inside, outside, swims, rips, punches. He did it all. Boye Mafe, University of Minnesota, is a name to watch in this NFL draft class. And when he goes first round, you tell everybody you heard it right here. The Stock Report with me, John Harris.
That's going to do it for this week's show. Andre, it's always awesome seeing you. Thanks so much for coming by.
Hey, anytime. Love doing the show and love being around you guys. So, hey, football's right around the corner. We got the draft that's building. Can't wait.
It's exciting times in Texans land. For all the guys and gals that put this show together, like Tyler Sudar, Tyler Marcotte, and the rest, I'm Drew, and we will see you next time on Texans 360. So long. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.